I never imagined I'd wake up in my dead father's skin, his wedding ring burning like a curse on my finger, plotting to dismantle the empire he built on my mother's grave. The first thing I did was pour his favorite scotch down the drain, whispering, "This is for Mom," as the amber liquid swirled like blood in the sink. But the real shock came when his new wife, my so-called stepmother, slid into bed beside me that night, her hand tracing patterns on my chest, oblivious that the man she loved was gone, replaced by the daughter he'd thrown away. It started 6 months ago, in the sticky heat of a Kansas City summer, when the moving truck rolled up to the old Victorian I'd inherited from Mom. I'd sunk every dime from her life insurance into restoring it, the creaky oak floors, the wraparound porch where we'd sip sweet tea and watch fireflies dance like lost souls. The house was my anchor after Dad's tragic accident 5 years back, the one that left me drowning in debt and whispers. Everyone said he'd swerved off I-70 into the Missouri River, drunk and despondent over Mom's cancer. I was 23 then, fresh out of community college, working double shifts at the diner to pay the bills he left behind. They called it karma for his gambling, but I knew better. Dad was too slick to crash like that. The doorbell rang as I was sanding the banister, sweat dripping into my eyes. I wiped my hands on my jeans and opened the door to find him standing there. Dad. Alive. Tanned. In a polo shirt that screamed country club casual. His arm was slung around a woman half his age, her bleach blonde hair cascading like a bad rom-com. And trailing behind them were two kids, a boy and girl, lugging suitcases like they owned the place. "Surprise. Kiddo," he said, grinning that wolfish smile that used to charm loans out of banks. "Meet the family. We're moving in." My brain short-circuited. "You're dead." The words tumbled out, raw and accusing. The woman, Lila. He'd later introduce her as, tittered like it was a joke. But her eyes were sharp, appraising the house like a realtor. The kids stared at me, the boy clutching a video game console, the girl popping gum. Dad pushed past, dropping a duffel on the foyer rug. "Paperwork glitch. Nevea. Cops closed the case years ago. But hey, water under the bridge. This place is half mine anyway from the marriage. Half his." Mom had fought tooth and nail in the divorce to get full custody and the house, signing it over to me in her will to spite him. I'd seen the documents, notarized in her shaky hand from the hospital bed. But Dad waved a folder, yellowed edges curling. "Prenup loophole. She never told you, did she? I own 49%. And now, with Lila here, we're making it official. Remarried last year in Vegas." Quiet ceremony. Lila beamed, extending a manicured hand. "Call me Mama L. We're gonna turn this dump into a home." Dump? This was Mom's sanctuary, every corner etched with her laugh lines. I wanted to slap the gloss off her lips, but the kids were watching, wide-eyed innocence caught in adult games. Instead, I muttered, "Get out," and slammed the door on their stunned faces. Or tried to. Dad's foot jammed it, his voice low and oily. "Don't make this ugly. Nev. I've got lawyers. You fight. You lose everything." That night, I barricaded myself in the attic, scrolling through public records on my phone until the battery died. Dad, Rick Harlan, wasn't just back, he was thriving. CEO of Harlan Dynamics, a defense contractor in D.C. That peddled drone tech to the Pentagon. Faked death? More like a resurrection funded by offshore accounts. Mom's cancer treatments had bled us dry, and he'd bailed, leaving me to forge checks from his business to cover chemo bills. I'd confessed to the fraud when the bank came knocking, 18 months probation. Community service that scarred my record. All while he sipped my ties in Aruba, plotting his return. By morning, they'd broken in through the back door, citing co-ownership rights. Lila directed the movers like a general, her voice a nasal twang from some Jersey suburb. Kitchen's mine, open concept. Honey,
The boy.
Tyler, 12 and sullen, claimed my old bedroom. The girl, Kaylee, 8 and bratty, scattered Barbie dolls across the living room. Dad cornered me in the garage, his breath reeking of mince over whiskey. Look, I know it's a shock, but Lila's got connections, real estate flips. We'll renovate, sell high, split the profit. You get a fresh start. Fresh start? I'd lost friends over the embezzlement, jobs because of the felony plea. Mom died believing I'd stolen to save her. Her last words a choked apology for not seeing my good heart. And now this vulture family nesting in her nest. You're a ghost who haunts, I hissed. He laughed, clapping my shoulder too hard. Ghosts pay rent.
Kiddo.
Yours is due. The first week was a siege. Lila accidentally tossed Mom's photo albums into the trash, cooing about clutter. Tyler hacked my Wi-Fi, streaming 4-night marathons that crashed the router. Kaylee drew on the walls with permanent marker, giggling as I scrubbed. Dad worked from the home office, my office, his calls booming about contract bids and classified specs. At night, I'd hear them through the thin walls, bed springs creaking, Lila's moans like victory cries. It twisted something feral in me. I lawyered up with a pro bono from legal aid, a sharp-tongued Latina named Maria who chain-smoked outside the courthouse. Prenup's bogus, she said, flipping pages. Your mom voided it in the settlement. But Harlan's got pull, judges in his pocket from D.C. Schmoozes. We filed an eviction notice, but it vanished into the ether. Then the inspections started, city officials citing code violations I'd never seen. Fines piling up like snowdrifts. Dad's doing. No doubt. Fix or forfeit, the letters read. Desperation bred darkness. I started digging deeper, hacking together a laptop from pawn shop parts, scouring dark web forums for dirt on Harlan dynamics. That's when I found it, the whistleblower thread. Anonymous posts about Project Echo, a black-budget neural interface. Body-swapping tech disguised as VR training for soldiers. Mind uploads, the poster claimed. Test subjects waking up in wrong skins. Harlan's the puppet master. Attached files, schematics, blurred photos of a lab in a Virginia warehouse. My pulse thrummed. Mom's deathbed ramblings, delirious mutterings about Dad's mad science side gigs, suddenly clicked. He'd moonlighted as a consultant for DARPA, vanishing for weeks. What if the accident wasn't drunk driving? What if Echo malfunctioned, swapping him into a temporary vessel, faking his death to cover it up? And now, back in his body, he was weaponizing it. I needed proof. Maria warned me off. This smells federal. Nevea. Trespass that line. You're collateral. But collateral was my life story. Late one night, buzzed on cheap wine, I drove to the airport Holiday Inn where Dad stashed his travel kit. I'd swiped his keycard from the junk drawer. Room 412. Suitcase open. Vials of glowing serum labeled Echo Stabilizer, a sleek helmet wired to a laptop running simulation code. I pocketed a vial, heart hammering, and fled. Back home, the house felt like a pressure cooker. Lila hosted a welcome barbecue, neighbors milling on the lawn, toasting the happy blended family. Dad grilled steaks, his laugh booming, but his eyes tracked me like prey. Nev. Speech, he called. I raised my plastic cup, voice steady. To secrets buried deep, and the ghosts that dig them up. The crowd chuckled, he didn't. That night, alone in the basement, I strapped on the helmet. The serum burned going down, a metallic tang like pennies and regret. The code word to life, initiate swap protocol. Target, Harlan.
R.
Screen flickered, neural maps overlaying. Mine and his tangling like kudzu. Pain lanced my skull. Visions flashing. Mom's chemo face. Dad's river crash. Lila's wedding vows in neon Vegas lights. Then blackness. I woke gasping, but not in my bed. Silk sheets.
King-sized.
Lila's perfume cloying the air. My hands rough, veined, wedding band glinting. I bolted to the mirror. Dad's face. Salt and pepper hair. Crow's feet from deals in smoke-filled rooms. Holy shit.
It worked.
Project Echo wasn't theory. It was a door to hell. Upstairs, my old bedroom now, my body stirred, eyes fluttering open.
Me? But not me.
Dad's soul piloting my frame. Confusion twisting my features. What the fuck, he croaked in my voice. I, in his body, smiled. Slow and savage. Morning.
Daddy.
Welcome home. The swap held for 12 hours. The vial's note warned. Enough time to unravel him. First, I texted Lila from his phone. Business trip. Gone 2 days. Love you. Then, in the office, I accessed his encrypted drive, password his old poker tell. Full House 69. Files spilled. Mom's accident wasn't cancer alone. He'd laced her pain meds with experimental echo precursors, testing neural degradation for the military. She'd suffered for his grant money, her death accelerating his suicide escape. And me, the forged checks, his embezzlement from Harlan Dynamics, pinned on the grieving daughter to deflect auditors. I'd done 18 months of hell for his greed. Rage boiled, but I played it cool. Dressed in his suit, Armani, too tight on my broader frame, I drove his Tesla to the bank, signing over the house deed to a trust in my name. Co-ownership transfer, I told the teller, forging his flourish with muscle memory from childhood checks. Then, the real estate agent, list it. Quick sale. Family emergency. Lila's flip dream.
Dead.
Back at the house. Dad in my body, paced the kitchen. Fists clenched. You bitch. Give it back.
His voice.
My timbre. Cracked with fury. The kids watched from the table. Cereal bowls forgotten. Lila fluttered in. Oblivious. Rick? What's wrong with Nevaeh? I leaned against the counter, crossing his arms. She's having a breakdown.
Babe.
Needs space. The confrontation escalated in whispers. He lunged, my own hands around my throat. A surreal nightmare. I twisted free, slamming him against the fridge. Magnets rained. Family pics. Now lies. You killed her, I growled.
Mom.
For your fucking drones. His eyes, my eyes, widened. It was mercy. The pain.
Lies.
The files proved profit. Lila burst in, phone in hand. Cops? Rick. She's attacking me. No, attacking him. But in my skin. The twist hit. From outside. It was daughter assaulting father. Controversial? Hell yes. I could end it here. Swap back. Let him rot in my betrayed life. Or push further. I chose further. Dragged him to the basement. Zip-tied my wrist to the chair. 12 hours, I said. Helmet dangling like a guillotine. Confess on video. Or I make the swap permanent. Terror flickered. He spilled. The river dive staged with a body double. Lila's role as accomplice, her real estate, flips laundering echo funds. The kids, bait. To humanize his return. Sway the judge. Uploading the confession to a dead man's switch. Timed release to media. Feds, I felt the serum fade. Limbs tingling. Souls unraveling. One last look, Dad. Crumbling in my fragile form. Whispering,
I'm sorry.
Nevada. Too late. The swap snapped. I gasped awake in my bed. Body mine again. Bruises blooming on my neck from his grip. Upstairs. Chaos. Lila screaming into the phone. Cops' sirens wailing. Dad, back in his shell, stumbled from the basement. Disoriented. Kids clinging to his legs. It was her, he babbled. She drugged me. But the video dropped first. Viral on X. CNN pickup by dawn. Defense mogul confesses to fraud. Manslaughter in heir's home. Neighbors gawked from the lawn as feds swarmed, cuffing him in the driveway. Lila, tear-streaked, loaded the kids into her SUV, peeling out like a felon. You'll pay for this, she spat at me over the hood.
Pay?
I'd already paid, in Mom's ghost. My stolen youth. The house was mine now.
Date Ironclad.
Proceeds from the forced sale, funding therapy, maybe a move to the West Coast. Victory tasted like ash.
Though.
Was justice swapping skins, forcing truths from a thief's mouth, or just trading one monster for another? As the sun dipped over the Missouri skyline, I sat on the porch alone, finally, with Mom's old rocker creaking beside me. Fireflies flickered, mocking the emptiness. Dad's trial loomed, a circus of appeals and PTSD from service. Lila vanished. Kids in foster limbo.
Me?
I'd testify. But the mirror showed scars no court could erase. Revenge wasn't catharsis. It was a mirror, reflecting the darkness we all bury. And in that reflection, I wondered, who was the real Harlan now? The fallout hit like a Midwest twister, ripping shingles off the narrative I'd clung to. By week 2, the house was a media zoo, reporters camping on the curb, drones buzzing overhead like vengeful hornets. Body-snatching heiress or whistleblower hero, the headline screamed. Pixelated helmet pics circulating on TikTok. I bolted the doors, lived off canned soup, and chain-watched true crime docs to feel less alone in my infamy. Maria, my lawyer, called daily. Stay silent. Nevea. The feds want her testimony, but Harlan's team is painting you as unhinged. That video? Coerced hallucination from illicit drugs. Unhinged. The word stung, echoing the shrinks who'd probed me post-probation. Abandonment issues. Daddy's girl gone rogue. But this was beyond Freud. Project Echo wasn't just tech, it was a Pandora's vial. Harlan's crown jewel for eternal youth bids. Upload your mind. Download into a fresh shell. The serum I'd swiped? Prototype. Unstable. Side effects whispered in forum ghosts, phantom pains. Identity bleed. Suicides masked as overdoses. Nights blurred.
Idę żółta łaka.
Convinced I felt his pulse. Dad's in my veins. A residual haunt. One dawn. Rifling the attic for Mom's letters. I found it. A shoebox under loose floorboards. Yellowed envelopes tied with twine. Her handwriting, looping and loving. Dearest Nev, if you're reading this, Rick's lies caught up. They accident money? It was for you, not his games. Forgive him, he's a boy in a man's suit. Love always.
M.
Forgive? The box bottomed out with a USB drive. Labeled Truth Serum. Plugged in. It bloomed. Audio files. Mom's voice frail but fierce. Recording sessions with a PI. Dad's double life. Affairs. Not just Lila, but a string of consultants funneling echo data to foreign buyers. Treasonous whispers. He's selling souls.
Rick.
For what? Immortality. She confronted him the night before her overdose, begging him to come clean. His response? Clipped. Stay out.
Ellen.
Or Nevea pays.
P.
The embezzlement setup. Her death hastened to silence the questions. I'd borne the cross for his sins. A scapegoat in pigtails. Tears soaked the floorboards, but fury dried them quick. The swap wasn't enough, it was a teaser. I needed the full reckoning. Maria arranged a meet at a dive bar in Independence, away from prying lenses. She slid a dossier across the scarred formica. Feds raided the Virginia lab. Echoes real, 20 test subjects. Half vegetative. Harlan's denying. But your video's the linchpin.
Testify. Get immunity.
Or walk. Let it bury him slow. Immunity, for what? The swap was my dirty secret. A vigilante hacks skirting felonies. What if I want more? I asked, nursing a flat Coke. Her eyes narrowed, smoke curling from her Marlboro. More gets you bars, Mija. Or a book deal. Choose. I chose the shadows. Tracked Lila through socials, burner account, desperate housewife Casey, to a Reno motel, her flipping distressed properties with laundered cash. The kids posted glimpses, Tyler's 4-night wins, Kaylee's dance recitals.
No dad. No me.
Heartstrings tugged, but I severed them. Drove west in Mom's old Corolla. 3 days of podcasts and diner pit stops. Arriving as dusk bled into neon. She answered the door in yoga pants. Hair in a messy bun. Eyes puffy from crying or coke. Hard to tell. Nevea? Jesus. You look like hell. Irony. From the woman who'd invaded mine. I pushed inside.
Door clicking shut.
The room smelled of takeout and regret. Twin beds. Kids' toys scattered. TV murmuring infomercials. Where's the serum? Lila? The rest of Echo. Her laugh was brittle, like autumn leaves. Rick's ghost.
Huh.
He warned me you'd come crawling. She lit a cigarette, exhaling smoke rings toward the ceiling fan. It's gone. Burned in the raid.
But you.
You think swapping him broke us? I knew about Ellen. Hell. I helped stage the dive. Double from a homeless vet, 50 grand. Easy. Confessions spilled like cheap wine. Her role? The enabler. Trading fidelity for stock tips. He promised me the house. The life. You were the loose end.
Loose end. Me.
The daughter collateral. I grabbed her wrist. The vial shard in my pocket digging like a talisman. One drop. Lila.
Swap with me.
Feel what it's like to be discarded. She wrenched free, backing toward the bathroom. Crazy bitch. Get out. But fear cracked her facade. The power flip. The stepdaughter turned avenger. Tyler wandered in then, rubbing sleep from his eyes.
Mom?
Who's she? Lila scooped him up, voice shrill. Nobody. Baby. Go back to bed. That nobody ignited it. I lunged, wrestling the lighter from her hand, flicking it near the curtains. Flames licked fabric, acrid smoke billowing. Confess, I snarled. Phone recording. Or we all burn. She did. Sobbing into the mic. Harlan's treason. Echoes black market sales to cartels. Her cut for silence. Sirens wailed distant. I bolted. Drive-through coffee scalding my tongue as Reno faded in the rearview. Back in KC. The dossier grew. Lila's tape. Anonymized. Fed to a DOJ contact Maria greased. Dad's empire cracked. Stock plummets. Board ousting him from a video link cell. But the calls started. Block numbers. Heavy breaths. Then a voice. Distorted. You can't unswap fate. Nevaeh. Echo remembers. Phantom pains worsened. Migraines mapping his neural scars. Dreams where I begged in his boardroom. Lila's laugh echoing. Was it bleed over? Or sabotage? The forum poster resurfaced. Harlan had backups. Watch your six. Paranoia nested. I booby-trapped the house, motion lights. Deadbolts. A Glock from a shady pawn, controversial? In Missouri. Self-defense blurred lines. Neighbors whispered. That Harlan girl. Touched in the head. Maria pulled back. You're spiraling. Get help. Help was the basement lab I jury-rigged. Salvaged helmet. Bootleg code. One more swap. I rationalized. Target. The whistleblower. To ID the traitor in Dad's ranks. Serum sourced from a Vegas pharmacist, 500 cash. No questions. Strapped in. Countdown initiated. Pain bloomed fiercer. Visions kaleidoscoping. Not Dad's life, but another's DR. Elias Crow. Lead echo engineer. Balding. Bespectacled. Guilt-ridden in a Herndon apartment. I woke in his skin, staring at my Nevaeh's reflection on a monitor, slack-jawed.
Drooling.
Swap hold. 8 hours. Per the drive's logs. Crow's files. Terabytes of horror. Subjects swapped into animals for adaptability tests. Minds fractured like glass. Dad's endgame? Auction the tech to the highest bidder. Russians or Saudis. For billions. And the twist. Mom wasn't the first victim. She'd volunteered early trials. Neural mapping for Alzheimer's cure. Dad twisted it, overdosing her to harvest data. Betrayal layered like sedimentary rock. Mom's secret. My innocence crushed under it. In Crow's body. I emailed the trove to WikiLeaks. Then torched the server. Back home. Swap reversing. I collapsed. Body mine but heavier. Truths leaden. The climax brewed at Dad's arraignment. A circus in federal court. I took the stand, dress stiff, voice steady. He didn't just steal my home. He stole my mother, my name, myself. Gasps rippled his eyes. Across the room, bored hatred. Lila, extradited. Testified next, deal for leniency corroborating the tapes. Verdict loomed. Life.
No parole.
But as gavel fell, my phone buzzed. Anonymous video.
Me.
In the motel. Flames leaping. Loose ends burn, the text read. Dad's smile. From his cell feed. Mirrored it. The real twist. The whistleblower was him. A long con to flush rivals. Frame me as the mad hacker. Echo's final protocol. Auto-swap on death row. His mind fleeing to a clone shell. The video looped in my nightmares. Flames devouring that Reno curtain like my unraveling sanity. Dad's ploy crystallized. The whistleblower persona. A digital puppet to bait me into deeper crimes. The arson clip his ace for appeal. Unstable air torches evidence. His lawyer spun on Fox, painting me as the villain in a Greek tragedy. Maria's calls turned frantic. Disappear? Nevea. Witness protection, new name, new state. Disappear? This house. Mom's bones in its beams. Was my last tether. I fortified instead. Cameras on every corner. A PI tailing the mailman. The kids haunted me most, Tyler and Kaylee, shipped to Lila's sister in Ohio. Their faces on milk cartons of regret. Were they pawns or parasites? I'd spared them the raid. But the therapy bills I'd anonymously funded spoke louder than blood. Echo's bleed intensified. Mornings, I'd flex fingers that felt too thick. Dad's baritone echoing in coughs. Docs dismissed it as stress, somatic delusion. The shrink droned. Prescribing Xanax, I flushed. But the forums buzzed. Echo ghosts, souls sticking like burrs. One user. Shadow swap. Messaged coordinates. An abandoned silo outside Topeka. Artifact cache. Road trip felt like pilgrimage. Corolla rattling over potholes. Radio preaching fire and brimstone sermons. The silo loomed. Concrete husk from Cold War ghosts. Chainlink sagging. Inside. Dust motes danced in flashlight beam. Crates stamped Harlan Dine. Helmets cracked like eggshells. Vials shimmering ethereal. Shadow swap waited. A wiry vet named Jax. Tattoos mapping tour scars. Test subject 7, he grunted, handing a journal. Your old man fried my squad in trials. Swapped us into Sims. Watched us break. His story chilled, Afghanistan deployment. Echo pitched as enhanced recon. Minds yanked into drone cams. Bodies left catatonic. Jax escaped. But the bleed? Permanent. Hear him sometimes the others. Screaming. We torched the cache at dusk. Flames cathartic. But as embers died, he dropped the bomb. Harlan's got a vault. D.C. Suburb. Under the old estate. Backup souls. All digitized. Yours too. Kid from the checks era. He scanned you for leverage. Leverage. My neural map. A hostage in code. Back in KC. I stormed Maria's office, demanding access. Federal lockdown, she said, but her eyes darted guilt. What aren't you telling me? I pressed.
Sigh.
Lila flipped fully. Says you threatened the kids.
Arson.
Assault. They're building a case against you. Betrayals knife twisted anew. Lila, the viper, turning state's evidence to slither free. I drove to the courthouse. Badge swiped by a sympathetic clerk. Dad's file. Sealed but cracked. Inside. Notes. Subject N. Harlan. Viable vessel. Echo test. Familial override. He'd planned to swap into me if cornered. Puppeteering his daughter from afar. Controversial? Inhaling your child's life. A paternal possession straight from hell. The decision crystallized. Infiltrate the vault. Jax tagged along. His truck a shadow in my mirrors.
DC.
Sprawl swallowed us, monuments mocking justice. Beltway traffic a vein of rage. The estate, McMansion in Potomac. Sold post-raid, but rigged with Harlan tech. We breached at midnight. Night vision ghosts. Alarms silenced by Jax's jammer. Vault door hummed open. Retinal scan bypassed with a printed eye, crows. From the files. Inside. Servers hummed like hearts. Rows of cryopods glowing blue. Labels chilled. Harlan. Art. Prime. Harlan. And backup. My face. Digitized. Floating in stasis.
Delete?
Or corrupt. Let his mind fragment eternally? Jax hacked the console. It's a web. Pull one. They all tingle. We purged what we could, flames licking circuits. Acrid ozone biting lungs. Alarms shrieked late. Guards swarmed. Tasers crackling. Jax took a hit. Convulsing, but covered my exit. Go.
End it.
I fled into the woods. Branches whipping. Lungs burning. Dawn broke over the Potomac. Sirens converging. News vans by noon. Harlan vault breached. Sabotage or suicide?
Dad.
From his cell. Issued a statement. My daughter's lost. Pray for her. Lost? I was found. Forged in fire. But the bleed peaked that night. Motel room spinning. Dad's voice in my head. Pleading. Nev. It's me. The swap stuck partial. Help. Hallucination or horror. I dosed the last serum. Helmet scavenged from Jax's truck. Suicide swap. Mind devoid. Pain crusted. Visions flooding. Not hell. But Mom's kitchen. Her hands kneading dough. Dad young and laughing. Before the deals soured. Then Lila. Wedding veil. Whispering. He's mine now. Reversal hit. This secret marriage wasn't escape. It was cover for Echo's genesis. Mom's death the catalyst data. I'd revenged the wrong ghost. Dad wasn't monster alone. The system bred him. Defense dollars devouring families. Swap faded incomplete. Me still me. But layered. Jax called from a burner. Vault's ash. Harlan's mind? Scrambled eggs. Victory. Pyrrhic. The partial stick turned days to delirium. Dad's echoes narrating my drives. Gas station coffee bitter on his tongue. Radio static his oldies playlist. You did good. Kid. The voice murmured. Paternal patina cracking. But it's not over. I ignored it. Pushing west toward Reno Redux. Lila's trail hot from Jax's contacts. She'd lawyered up.
Kid stashed.
Spinning a victim yarn to lifetime execs. Blended hell, a stepmom's nightmare. Interstate blurred. Billboards hawking guns and God. America's underbelly unspooling. Stops at trucker dives yielded whispers. Harlan shares tanking. Echo whistleblowers crawling out. Soldiers. Spouses. A senator's aide with PTSD from VR glitches. My story leaked piecemeal. Podcast fodder. The swap siren, hero or hacker? Listeners debated in comments. Girl's a badass versus psycho, vigilante. Lock her up. Reno welcomed with slot machine jangles. Heat mirage over the strip. Lila's flip, a rundown casino condo. Comped by investors. I staked it from a diner booth. Waitress comping fries with pity eyes. You okay?
Hun.
Look like you seen a ghost. Irony. Served hot. Nightfall. I scaled the fire escape. Heart jackhammering. Balcony slider ajar. Arrogance or trap. Inside. Lila paced. Wine glass trembling. TV droning her interview. Rick was the dream. Nevaeh, the demon. Kids' rooms empty. Photos staged. She spun. Shrieked, glass shattering.
You.
Cops said stay away. I advanced. Hoodie shadowing. Voice low. The vault's gone. You're cut? Vapor. Her laugh manic. Backing to the kitchenette. Think you're free? Rick's got contingencies, offshore shells. Echo 2.0 in Dubai. Contingencies. The marriage. The move-in, not greed. But bait to lure me into the swap. Harvest my pure, neural map for upgrades. Mom's overdose? Beta test my frame. The alpha vessel. Controversial truth. I'd been bred for this.
Unwitting Leibrat.
The kids. I demanded. Glimpsing drawings taped to fridge, Tyler's scrawls. Kaylee's hearts. Pawns. Like me? She sneered. Drawer rattling, knife glinting. They'll inherit better. Without you. Lunge. Clash blade nicking my arm. Blood hot. We grappled. Visions flashing. Her Vegas vows. Dad's grin. Mom's gasp on tainted pills. I twisted the knife free. Pinning her. Confess final. On cam. Phone propped. She broke. The full conspiracy. Echoes cartel ties. Human trafficking via mind slaves. Rick loved you. In his way. Wanted you immortal. With us. Immortal family? Nightmare fuel. Sirens wailed. Her panic button? I fled. Alley shadows swallowing. Blood trail a breadcrumb. Greyhound east. Bandaged in bus station stall. The bleed sang. Dad's chuckle. She's the real monster. Nev. Always was. KC reformed around me. Maria's safe house, a bland apartment. Feds circling. Testify full, the agent urged. Suit starched. Close the circle. Circle? It was a noose. Dad's trial ballooned. International now. Interpol warrants. I took the stand again. Voice amplified. He didn't just betray. He body-napped generations. Jury gasps. But his eyes sparkled pride? Or the stick? His ghost cheering? Verdict. Guilty. All counts. Life.
Plus extradition.
Lila arrested mid-interview. Kids to guardians. Cheers erupted. But mine choked. Outside. Protesters clashed. Free the swap girl versus tech terrorist. I slipped the scrum. Maria's arm linked. It's done.
Done?
The bleed peaked post-verdict. Dad's voice crescendo. Twist time.
Kid.
I'm not him. Revelation clawed. The river body? Not double crow. The engineer. Swapped pre-dive to fake death. Dad puppeteering from shadows. My father? Imposter all along. Crow's mind in Harlan flesh. Lila's lover the phantom. The revelation shattered like the vault glass. That, no. Crow in his cell. But his voice in my head a lie's echo. Jax confirmed via encrypted text. Harlan Prime died in the dive. Crow hijacked the shell. Built the empire on stolen synapses. Stolen. Like mom's data. My innocence. The real Rick? Fish food. Betrayed by his protege for the tech throne. Lila knew. Her marriage to a corpse's husk. Final push. Confront the ghost. I petitioned the warden. Conjugal lie. Last words for closure. Cell block reeked of bleach and despair. Crow shuffling in orange. Gaunt but grinning.
Nevi.
Come to gloat.
His eyes.
Not Dad's, colder. Scientists gleam. I leaned close. Bars cold. You're not him. The swap showed me flashes of the real Harlan. Cursing your name. Laughter barked. Clever girl. Rick was soft gambler. Not God. I optimized his face. Your mom's map for stability. Echoes my opus. Immortality democratized. You, perfect host, pure spite. Resilient.
Spite.
My fuel. The kids, did you? He waved. Innocence. Lila's folly.
But you.
Destroying the vault?
Noble suicide. Suicide?
The partial stick wasn't bleed. It was tether. Crow's backdoor to yank me in post-execution. Controversial endgame. Lethal injection. Then neural leapfrog into my skin. Puppeteering the tragic daughter free. Horror crested. I palmed the smuggled vial, Jax's last gift. Overloaded serum. Drink, I said, slipping it through bars. Swap one last time. Feel oblivion. He lunged, gulping desperate, eyes widening as code cascaded. Alarms blared, guards swarmed. I backed away, his form convulsing. Mouth foaming code fragments. Error. Vessel reject. He flatlined mid-sentence. Medics futile. Autopsy? Toxic ingestion. Headlines shrugged. But I felt the snap, tether severed. Head silent at last. Feds cleared me. Self-defense. Implied. Maria hugged fierce. Heroes exit.
Mia.
The house sold quick, developer swoop. Proceeds seeding a foundation. Echo victims aid. Scholarships for test kin. I moved coastal. Santa Cruz fog my new veil. Therapy unpacking the layers. Tyler and Kaylee wrote once. Awkward cards. Miss the old house. Sorry, I replied gentle. Boundaries firm. Ending?
Nota y dibao.
Debates raged. Was my vengeance justice or jaundice? Swapping ethics for scorched earth? Mom's letters whispered forgiveness. But mirrors showed scars, crow's ghost faint. A reminder, monsters wear our faces. In quiet nights, fireflies mimic fireflies. I rock on a porch not mine, wondering if immortality's the curse, or just living with the dead. Twist's reversal. The real betrayal? Mom's secret volunteering. Dooming us all for a cure that killed. Happy? In fragments, freedom bought bloody. Tragic? In the boy I might have been. Unscarred. You decide. Reader. The swap store swings both ways.